Yeah.
Okay, so now we're moving on to meat. In other words, if you wanted a chop, what would you do? If you wanted to eat meat, did you go down to Woolworths or what was the deal there?
No such thing as Woolworths. I think Woolworths was still in America. But what we did was Dad killed a sheep every Friday.
Every Friday you killed a sheep.
Killed a sheep. If we were going out with Dad, we used to make friends with the sheep in the back of the car. He'd pick up the sheep that he wanted to kill, then he'd put it in the back of the car with us, children, and we'd be making friends with the poor sheep, and then it came time to kill it. And Dad would say, "Run away, children, run down the river and play. Run away, I don't want you watching killing the sheep." And we'd run away and play, so we never saw him kill the sheep. But then
But then you're going to eat it
the next thing, it was
You were eating Dolly.
it was in the big Hessian bag and in the back of the car, and in it came. Then he'd hang the whole sheep with the Hessian bag all around it
In the meat
on
house.
a meat hook down in the back shed the back shed from the hook.
So
at the
no
top.
fridge, just
And
put
it
it
was there
behind
all
wire
night.
netting
It
so
was
to keep the
there all
flies away.
night, sheltered from the flies by the Hessian bag. And then very early Saturday morning, he'd start to cut it up. And he'd cut it up, and then before we got up, he'd be coming up to the kitchen with plates of chops and leg of lamb and so on as he cut it up. And then as we got up and straggled around, we were the runners. We'd be running up with chops, and we'd running up with lambs fried, putting it in the kitchen, going back, getting another plate.
So every Saturday
On
morning,
these tin plates. Then Dad would cook every Saturday morning. We would have lambs fried for breakfast. He would cook it in fat, and it would burn. So what we used to do would be end up cutting all the edges off, eating the middle, and browning it in tomato sauce.
sounds like David.
There was tomato sauce all the way
Tomato
back
sauce.
then.
Tomato sauce, eh? What, you had to grow your own
Plenty of
tomatoes, I suppose?
No, we had plenty of tomato sauce, IXL.
IXL tomato sauce,
Yeah.
fair income.
Wow.
There you go. So
Yeah.
lamb's fry on Saturday and chops every
And every
breakfast.
morning for breakfast we had chops and porridge.
Marianne would have been in heaven.
Dad
Chops and porridge.
Yeah, Dad would have a big plate of porridge on the stove, and he'd bake this lovely porridge, and then we'd eat our porridge, and then there'd be chops and toast, and we'd be doing our homework frantically that we hadn't done the night before.
That sounds familiar.
I can remember down on the floor with a pot of ink and a pen that you had splashing ink blots, trying to do my homework.
Fair
Down
income.
on the floor because the table seemed to be full of other things. And,
That sounds familiar too.
Kneeling on the floor doing my homework,
Except for
dipping the
Friday.
pen into the ink pot. This is
Wow.
anyway. No, this was.
How old were
last
you?
Friday,
Were you
Saturday.
when you that memory of
Well,
doing that homework?
that memory would have been up until I was about 11 or 12, I suppose.
Bethany's age now.
Yes.
Wow.
When Mum had the little ones, she was often up during the night with them. So that's why Dad used to give her a sleep in the morning.
The little ones being Claire and John.
And when she had these little ones, they were babies, and then they always had a sleep in.
How
She
old
had a
were
sleep
you when
in.
they were born?
Well, I would have been 8 when John was born, and 6 when Claire was born. So you see, those were the years when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 that Mum was sleeping in. And Dad was cooking breakfast. He'd bring her a cup of tea and toast into the bedroom, and
Lovely
with her condensed milk in the tea as usual.
You trying to drop any hints
Lovely
there?
husband, Jack Keating.
Oh, crikey.
And then
No pressure.
he would come out, and she would have this long sleep in, and and Dad would cook us breakfast: porridge, chops, toast. And the toaster was the old-fashioned toaster which used to burn. Oh, first of all, we used to
Oh, yeah,
make
the one that
toast.
no timer. You just have to watch it.
You had to watch it. So the procedure was
Burn the toast.
burn the toast and scrape it in the sink. But before that, Dad used to light the fire. Before we got a stove, Dad used to light the fire with pine kindling and get a fire going, and then put the pot on, the kettle on, boil up the water, then cook the porridge, and then we used to make toast on a toaster over not the flames. You made the best toast on coal.
Even in summer, you
As
had
a-
porridge and chops?
Always porridge, chops all our lives.
Fair income.
Yes.
And then
No
for,
Cocoa Pops,
and
eh?
for dinner?
And for dinner we had roast. Usually we had a leg of lamb, roast lamb or something. And then, for a big treat, on odd days we'd have sausages. If Dad or Mum happened to be, or if Dad was over the town, if ever he came in early and he was over the town, he'd bring fish home. That was a treat.
Yeah, that would
He
be
loved
true.
fish. Yeah, bring some fish from the fish shop.
That sounds like someone I know
And
too.
what was I going to tell you? Something else. Yes.
Kevin
Now this is an
Keating.
interesting story.
Okay.